At first, I tried to ignore the subtle changes in my wife's behavior. She had joined the gym to stay fit, and I encouraged her, thinking it was a healthy pursuit. But gradually, I noticed a shift. Conversations at home became dominated by stories about her trainer, his advice, his techniques, his constant praise. I told myself it was harmless, just enthusiasm over her workouts, and I tried to remain patient. The turning point came the day I saw them together outside the gym. They were laughing in a way that felt intimate, too close for what I had believed was just a training relationship. A knot of unease formed in my chest. That evening, I confronted her calmly, hoping for some honesty or at least a denial. But she didn't deny anything. Instead, she dismissed my concerns, claiming I was too consumed by work, that he understood her better than I ever could. The betrayal stung sharply, but I refused to beg or plead. I wasn't about to sacrifice my dignity. Then, shockingly, her trainer showed up at my workplace a few days later, as if he owned the place. He strolled in casually, leaning against my desk with a smug grin. "She deserves someone real," he said, his tone dripping with arrogance. "You're not enough for her." For a moment, I felt anger and disbelief surge inside me, but I saw through him. He thrived on intimidation, feeding off the fear and humiliation he thought he had created. I chose calm over confrontation. "Is that what she told you?" I asked softly, my composed tone clearly irritating him. He had expected me to erupt, to give him the satisfaction of seeing me lose control, but I had no intention of doing that. Instead, I quietly began collecting information, connecting with people who could reveal his true character. What I discovered was exactly the leverage I needed. The trainer had a reputation that the gym chose to ignore. He had exploited clients, especially women, using his position for personal gain. Complaints had been buried to avoid scandal. With this evidence, I held the power that I needed to turn the tables. When he next tried to intimidate me, I invited him to a one-on-one meeting at a nearby cafe. He arrived confident, his smirk daring me to react. He leaned back, repeating his earlier insult, as if rehearsing a scene meant to belittle me. "Face it," he said. "You'll never measure up for her." I placed a thick folder in front of him, filled with documentation of his misconduct. The expression on his face changed instantly as he flipped through the pages. "Where did you get this?" he asked, panic creeping into his voice. I leaned in slightly, maintaining my calm. "You thought you could break me with arrogance," I said. "But I don't fight with threats or fists. I fight with truth." I made it clear that unless he removed himself entirely from our lives, these documents would reach the authorities and gym management. For the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. His attempts at negotiation and retaliation crumbled against the evidence I presented. Within a week, he resigned quietly and disappeared, leaving no trace behind. My wife, witnessing the collapse of her perfect man, was forced to confront the consequences of her choices. She tried to apologize, to rebuild what she had damaged, claiming she had been blind. But trust, once fractured, is not easily repaired. I told her that marriage is built on loyalty and respect, and she had discarded both. Separation followed shortly after, not out of spite, but because it was the only honest path. In the end, the lesson was clear. Revenge does not need to be loud or violent. It is about composure, intelligence, and moral strength. The trainer had assumed my worth could be measured in intimidation or muscle, but I proved that true manhood lies in character, patience, and the courage to confront deceit with honor. I remained quiet, but I was never weak, and that truth struck harder than any punch ever could.